Your breath is very valuable and very essential for your well-being. Your breath either allows you to be present or it disconnects you from the present energy.
Interesting.
Ask yourself in every present moment, how is my breath signifying my experience right now and right here? What is the significance of this breath? What does this breath mean? And how do I shift the breath, if needed, to be one of harmony with my being? This is not always deepening the breath. This can be changing the rhythm in certain moments. This can also be just shifting the way that you breathe, the direction of the breath in the body.
That's valuable information. I know sometimes when I get distracted and I'm not in the present moment, I'm holding my breath and I don't even know it.
Yes. And it's recognizing that sometimes holding your breath can be of value, but the way that you're doing it and the reason why you're doing it is what is significant. There are ways to hold the breath that actually increase the life force in the body, but then there's ways of holding the breath that separate the life force in the body. So breath, it has to be very intentional and recognizing where the origin of the breathing experience is originating from. For instance, is it a pattern that is in harmony with your being, or is it a pattern that separates you from the harmony?
That's interesting that I'd have to ask myself and do some self-discovery on why I'm holding my breath and figure that out. I don't think it's good for me to hold my breath, though. I think
It depends on how you do it. There's certain instances where, if done in a proper way, you're actually able to breathe through the pores of your body, but you're able to direct the energy through the pores of the body, not from the air around you, but in a way you're connecting to a portal of energy from elsewhere. So you can connect to a clean energy source that channels directly from the source into your pores. In a way, it teleports to reach you. And so in this way, you can actually breathe through the pores, and then you're not breathing in through the nose, but you're being replenished continuously with breath. You would know that this is happening because you would feel very light and free, not lightheaded, just very uplifted.
Yeah.
Very bright, and you would feel an abundance of energy, and you would also feel very motivated to move the physical body.
Wow, that's something I've seen a YouTube a yogi that was doing pranayama, and he did one nostril left inhale, and then somewhere in between the inhale and the exhale, he said he held his breath for extreme amount of time, like a whole day.
Yes, you can absolutely do this because you're channeling the energy directly from another place. It is just not from your direct surroundings, but you're able to access any energy from any dimension, any plane, and any place on Earth as well, including different times. You don't have to necessarily breathe in the energy that is present in this current moment, in this current year. You can breathe in the energy from thousands of years ago if you choose, but it's not breathing in again through the nose. It would be breathing in through the pores. So this person, when this was occurring, was still breathing. It just was not from the energy that was in the present moment with him. It was from a different present moment that he accessed.
Okay, so it's like a timeline jump in a way.
It is like connecting through a portal. It is, in a way, teleporting energy from one place to another. It is not shifting the timeline, it is more shifting the point of view.
Oh, fascinating. I have to think about that because that's a whole nother, yeah, that's a very interesting topic that I've never explored.
Yes, when you shift your point of view, it allows you to access truly any experience. For instance, if you shift your point of view into an ant, you can actually live the experience of an ant for as long as your point of view is shifted there, but you must relax into that. If you do not relax into it, you're maintaining control of both perceptions. If you're maintaining control of your current perception in the human form and the perception of an ant, you're going to be a little bit mismatched and not as accurate. So you have to connect to a specific perception, point of view, and then fully relax into it and allow yourself to release control. So in essence, all you know is being an ant. But as soon as that experience is complete, you go back to the body, so you don't have to worry about being stuck in that perception. You'll be there as long as you need to, which could even be a couple of seconds, and then you'll go back. The key to remembrance is allowing yourself to relax into an experience. Some call this letting go or flow state as well, but in essence, it is true relaxation. It is the foundation of why relaxation was created.
Oh, that's beautiful. I think I know what you're saying now. I had an experience where I left my body and I was floating and I saw this circle of light. And as soon as I realized where I was and I identified with this place, and I was no longer just relaxed into where I was, and I became, aware of something other than me, almost like a duality, I guess is the word. I all of a sudden realized, oh my goodness, where am I? And then I became afraid because I realized I wasn't where I didn't intend to be there. It's just, I just ended up there, but it was so beautiful. But in the moment of that, I guess I contracted and got afraid. I fell back into my body.
Yes, because in essence, you wanted to be back in the body and back in the original experience.
Yeah.
So in essence, you went there. Your soul will go where it needs to go, and if you want something quite strongly, sometimes it can take a detour.
Interesting. It's a beautiful practice we all need to do. Okay, we have lots of questions. So Chloe smells cancer. Suddenly she had this epiphany that she was able to detect cancer through smell, and then she was able to understand that the cancer was really just through a visual, I guess. She saw dead cells spreading almost like mold. So that's a powerful, because cancer is one of our number one killers on planet Earth. How can we learn about this? What would be the best way to educate people about how to smell cancer? Or is that just a gift that you have and nobody can just all of a sudden smell it? You have to have the gift of smell, or
Everyone has access to smelling this, just like how dogs can have access to smelling different illnesses that are happening. It's just allowing yourself to be sensitive. So many people will distract their senses. So, for instance, if they try to dull their senses, if they experience an intense moment where they're having beautiful and vivid emotions that are not always positive, but can be positive, but in essence, just having an intense emotional experience. Many times people try to dull their senses. They will do this through eating certain heavy foods, through watching certain forms of television. This can also be through scrolling on social media. This can be through getting drunk or high. This can even be through going to sleep with the intention of forgetting or of dulling.
yes.
People spend so much time dulling their senses, and by doing this, they're disconnecting themselves from what they're potentially able to experience. They are separating themselves from the experience of life. And so, in these moments, when they try to dull their senses, instead they allow themselves to feel their senses and then go through the experience and come out on the other side. Their physical senses will be more activated, their smell, their hearing, their sight. Senses that were also lacking will regenerate or unlock if this is what is needed. And so, in essence, the more people allow themselves to feel without suppressing, the more that they will allow themselves to actually activate their senses. So this includes smell, and they will know which smell means what because it is very obvious.
Okay.
People know what the smell, for instance, a specific rotten fruit is.
Yeah.
If someone eats a fruit that is intact and that is high vibration and healthy, as in the fruit is at its peak ripeness, they know what that smell is versus when the fruit is decaying. So, for instance, an avocado has a very distinct smell if it is in a decayed form. If it is rotten, it smells very different than when it is fresh and ready. And so the same thing applies to the human body. One can smell if a human body is rotting. The only thing is so many people wear perfumes and shift their smell. So you have to refine your sense of smell, which is allowing yourself to smell and setting your intention. I do not smell the perfumes. I only smell what is truly there and truly present.
Okay.
But it is much, much easier in general, at least for beginners in this experience, in this practice, to intentionally smell people when they're not wearing perfumes, and preferably when they have not freshly showered or freshly bathed.
Okay.
For instance, if they sweat, this actually tells you a lot. Through someone's sweat, you can pick up almost everything about their current physical condition. But people try to cover up things so much.
Yeah.
For instance, even if someone, let's say, has acne or has a pimple of some sorts, which in essence is just a small infection, a small block, they will try to cover it up. But if this was presented, one, it could actually be healed and it would be refreshed through the sunlight and through the air, if the air is purified, of course, in its natural state of being. So this is in a natural setting without major pollutants, or even in the water, such as in the ocean. This can help to heal the area, but it's covered up. And through this, it also suppresses and it increases the cycle of suffering throughout the body. It doesn't allow itself to release or to be cleansed and clarified. Sunlight is very healing, but only if tapped into in a harmonious sense. For instance, blueberries and mangoes help strengthen the body in order to not receive sunburns if consumed in the correct order and if the body adjusts to it in a natural sense. In essence, everything is just about living in a harmonious state of being. It's just being either in a flow or in a state of control. Control is not harmony, control is stagnancy. Control is wanting, it is not experiencing. Whereas flow, this is love, this is relaxation, this is also energy, uplifted abundance. This can be in a speedy way, this can be in a very fast sense, but it is the way that is natural, the way that feels right. What is natural will be good. A lot of people have this misconception that nature can have cruelty as well. Well, that state of nature, that's out of balance, that is out of harmony. Nature in its true form, in its true essence, is harmonious, is beautiful, is sacred, is connective, is of love, is of light, is of goodness, is of balance. And so if there's cruelty involved, there is something that took the state of being out of balance.
I see.
This is why there's predator prey, and people then say that nature can be cruel, but this is not nature. This is not a natural state of being. This is an altered state of being. So in essence, the Cancer smell is very, very direct. It's very obvious. If only, one, the person does not actively conceal it, and two, the person who's smelling allows themselves to actually experience and does not clog their senses. Any depressants can clog the senses. Alcohol, for instance, can clog the senses. Many pharmaceuticals can do so as well. People will put inorganic substances into the body that have been manufactured in a very controlling sense and then wonder why they do not feel great. The pharmaceuticals are not in harmony with organic matter. Many people get defensive about this, but it's just because they've been taught that they're unable to heal another way. But this is because the physicians are ignorant, the system is ignorant, it is existing out of fear. Cancer, in essence, is a disease, a toxin of fear. And in terms of the cells, they just decay if there is such an out of balance and such a strong control. The cells of the body flow, just like the cells of the air flow, the cells of water flow, the cells of the body flow. It is not stagnant. The body is never completely stagnant. It is not necessarily a wall of dead material or anything like this. It is constantly moving, constantly flowing. You just have to pay attention. You can actually see this as well. But the energy of the body is constantly moving. There is not a moment where it does not move. And so when you recognize this, you start to notice where there's parts that are more stagnant. When there's stagnant energy, this, in essence, is induced by fear, then this will increase cancer. People who do not experience fear in any shape, in any form, and do not receive it in their body will not get cancer. And fear as well, fear is not just feeling afraid. Many people understand this. They do not know what fear truly is. But fear, in essence, is just an imbalance. It is just this toxin that is deprived of love, deprived of light, deprived of creation energy. It is without soul and without spirit. It is something that takes without giving. This is what fear is. But fear is not, it is not just the feeling of being afraid. It can manifest in anger and hate and lack of self-love. It can also manifest in
anxiety.
Yes, and anxiety and stress and pollutants as well. So pollutants in the air, fatigue. When we say fatigue, we mean genuine fatigue. Fatigue that is just draining the system and is not replenished by something simple. But in essence, the answer is love. We also recommend for people to read the book A Wrinkle in Time, because this expresses the virus of fear in a very direct way.
Oh, I've heard of this book. Okay, I will get that myself. Thank you. Who is the author? Do you know? Well, it's probably easy to find on Amazon. A Wrinkle in Time. This smell of cancer? So this would be great if massage therapists, for example, or holistic practitioners, or somebody trained in the holistic health industry could smell as a diagnostic. Sometimes I would smell coffee, not from the breath, from a client,
Yes.
on a massage therapist. Or
it is very easy to do. The easiest way to do this, to detect this, is just ask the person to fast for 24 hours. They can have water, but no food and no drink besides water. And then after the 24 hours, to do any form of exercise. And it doesn't have to be very strong, very abundant, or very long. Just enough that they sweat just a little bit.
Yeah.
And then they should, before they start the 24-hour fast, they should clean their body, but not with any strong soap. It should be something very mild that has no perfumes on it of any kind, no scent added to it.
Okay.
Or just washing themselves with water. But in essence, there should be no residue of any product on their skin. So first, they wash themselves, no residue of any product. They fast for 24 hours on nothing but water. And then they do any simple exercise, or even being in a sauna, something that produces sweat. And then from there, it is very, very, very easy for practically anyone to be able to smell and to detect whether or not that person is healthy. And if they're not healthy, it's quite obvious what is wrong with them.
Okay. Well, that's a great technique, and I'm not sure that many clients would be willing to not eat for a day, but maybe.
Yes, this is the easiest way to detect. The reason why we say this, it's also important for them to brush their teeth before they start fasting, but then once they start fasting, not to brush their teeth for the 24 hours, because they'll also be able to smell the disease on the breath.
Okay.
Many times when there is an issue with the teeth and with the gums, there'll be cancer in another part of the body as well. So it's important to recognize this. People that have the healthiest gums are very unlikely to get cancer. It can still happen, it's just the likelihood of it is significantly reduced. It's also important to recognize that different diseases do smell a little different. So it can take some practice or just intuitive work and just connective work to be able to tell which smell is which disease. But in essence, the reason for the fast is because if someone eats, then the practitioner will be able to pick up what they ate within their system.
Yeah.
So, for instance, meat is decay and death. And so this can be confused with cancer in certain moments.
Interesting.
Especially because much of the meat sold is from animals who contain some level of cancer. And so now it's in their system and it's very obvious and very forefront. So the practitioner can actually smell whether or not the person eats meat.
Well, yeah, I think I could. I have a good sense of smell. I have smelled meat eaters. They do have a different smell. And I've smelled like metal coming off and smoke right out of the pores of the skin. This is when a client is on the table and they're prone, their face is down, so I'm not smelling their breath, but I can smell those things. I think it would be really helpful if we could. Sometimes I smell like putrefied smells. Can you, or moldy, or sometimes like stinky socks, mildewy. I mean, there's different types of smells. Could you help me understand compare a cancer smell to one of those?
Yes, so in essence, a cancer smell will smell a bit rotten, a bit sour, and a bit decayed.
Okay.
Very similar to something that is moldy and rotten. Now, the area that is infected can change the smell. There is a universal smell for cancer, but if another area is decaying, you'll be able to pick that up as well. So, for instance, someone who has, let's say, liver failure and they have cancer, you'll be able to pick up both of those smells and they may smell intertwined to you.
Okay.
But this can change the perception a little bit. Also, some people, it's very common that if someone has cancer, they'll have other issues as well and other conditions. Especially if they're taking pharmaceuticals, you'll be able to smell the pharmaceuticals. So it does take more of an experienced practitioner, someone who's really, really refined in smell to be able to tell which form of experience that they are picking up on. The easiest way is just to ask your higher self and just to go within, or just ask any being in truth. They exist all around you.
Mhm.
You can even just ask the energy, what are you? And it'll be able to tell you. But in essence, the easiest way to detect is just a rotten, sour smell.
Okay.
Something that is a bit putrid and smells like decay, in a way like decaying flesh,
Okay.
like meat that has decayed a bit more. All meat is decaying, but in essence, one that has decayed just a bit farther.
So it's a death smell in a way.
Yes, because in essence, the cells in that area are dead and spreading the death.
Mm-hmm. Makes total sense. Okay, so many more fun questions, and I'm so happy to be here with you to ask these questions. So the Vatican and the destruction of the Earth's grid. I just watched a video, and so I think it was on YouTube or Facebook, and they described exactly what the blue sapphires were describing about the part of the Earth that has been demolished, the grid is broken, and there's one part, I think that it was the middle earth that is still intact, right? But the upper part of the earth is broken. And I thought it was simply from being, unconscious and thoughtless about drilling for oil. But this video was talking about how it was intentional and that somehow the Vatican has some part of it. Can you connect the dots?
Yes, so in essence, it was done in an intentional way. So both drilling and mining for crystals, for oil, and for substances of the earth. When we say of the earth, we mean quite deep within the earth overall. But anything that was taken from the earth, this did not just start from mindless people. This was directed from very negative beings and forces. And then these individuals that originally directed it, they just started a chain reaction and then people continued from there. So the people doing it now, the majority of the people who contribute to it in a direct sense, are doing it in a very mindless way. They're doing it in a very automatic way. As the original forces that started this trend, as you'd like to call it, this pattern, they were doing it very intentional. They started it very intentional. So the Vatican is not what a lot of people believe it to be. To begin with, Christianity is not what people practice it to be. Much of the information in the books is misinterpreted or has been changed. The original books were actually very sacred, very good, and very of light, but either information has been mistranslated, misinterpreted, or misunderstood, and some information, some text has been changed altogether. But the Vatican was created in a way to suppress and to control humanity. And there's some priests that, in essence, they're very ancient priests, and they have a very accelerated form of thought, but their form of thought is also damaged, neglected, and separated from the soul source. And their purpose, in essence, at least the purpose they've given themselves, is to extract what they can from humanity in a way, harming humanity for a very specific, very negative intention and spreading the virus of fear to control. But in essence, the more that one tries to control, the more that one is out of control, and they do not recognize this. They start to recognize it more now, but they still do not very much. And the Pope is not someone that's very significant either. He's more of a player, more of a forefront, more of an actor, someone like a model that's just in the front to show the design. but is not actually significant in what is truly being done. And the priests, who are the ones who are doing the most significant damage, these are not priests that are in the forefront either. They rarely speak to the public. They do things from the backgrounds. They have an enormous amount of financial wealth and influence because of this. A lot of people will be upset knowing this, and they will feel that either they've been lied to or they will hold on to the lie even stronger. It's important to recognize that the being that people call Jesus or Jesus or even Yeshua, this being is one of love and connection and is an incredible being. Everyone has the ability to communicate with this being directly. This being is of love. And so it's important to recognize anything that has been used as a tool to induce fear and to induce control is not one of love. And this being that one is typically referred to as Jesus, who does not refer to oneself as Jesus, but this being is one of love. And this being is only there to express, to shine, and to encourage, to enable love. And this being does not support fear-mongering techniques and that which is of disharmony. And so it's important to recognize this. It's also important to recognize that this being does not support or encourage the forcible taking of lives. This includes in hunting, this includes in farming, this includes in slavery, both of one species and of the rest species. It's important to recognize this. This being advocates for love. And this being does not want or wish to be represented by the cross. The cross is representing a death. It is not representing the rebirth. People must recognize this. People truly must recognize this.
Yes, I agree. How can we call upon this being? What is the name that this loving being that some people call Jesus or Yeshua? What would be the proper name to call him? Was it a female, a male?
Born as a male within this life, but is neither male nor female now because this being does not have a physical form, at least not a human physical form. Or another species. This being does not have the form that is associated with the density of this reality. You can call this being however you'd like. You can also call this being everything and all that is love. This being will reply and respond to you however you intend to speak with them.
So you just have to feel the energy of what you perceive this being to be without using a word. Just feel it and then
do not intend on a specific visual. This being does not have one visual or another. And so just focus on who you would like to speak to, but not assuming how they are.
I'm not sure how to do that.
All you need to do, for instance, is to call upon the one who knows love, the one who is everything and all that is love, and you'll receive the right being.
And is he the Son of God, so they say?
In essence, this being is God, and God is this being. They are one, just like all life is so-called God, incarnated, source, God, divine. You can call this energy however you would like, as long as you call this energy with that of love. This is a being of love. This is a being of kindness. This is a being of goodness. This is a source in truth.
We can just tune into the feeling of truth and love and kindness, ask for this being of truth, love, and kindness to come in.
And they are one. So this being is just an expression of this source or of God. If people wish to call the source God, it's just a name. It has no significance beyond the name.
Okay.
Names can have significance, but at this point, it is more of the significance that you provide it. But if you view this as to be a fearful being, then this is not source.
No. Did he incarnate into a real person and did the story of the whole story of the three kings and the birth and then the resurrection 3 days later and then Pontius Pilate, the whole story of Jesus.
What happened, it was a little bit misperceived, more of the details of why things happened more than how they happened. So many people, they'll put different meanings and significances to different events and not understand the truth of it. But yes, this series of events happened. It's just the whys or the details that are at this point a bit misperceived.
Okay. And tell me about, we'll get off the topic of him in a minute. It was not on my list, but it's so interesting. I have to ask you, the so Jesus, or whoever this beautiful being, source, supreme source that incarnated into this little boy, and Jesus, maybe that was his name at the time. Now I forgot my question. I'm sorry. Just a minute. I'm sorry, I lost the question. I want to be able to connect with him, but he is source, and he did come in to help uh, as the savior of the world. Oh, what was his purpose for incarnation? To just bring in more love, yes?
To inspire love, to help people know that they are this love and they can choose a path of love, and to have no more killing. There was so much killing happening, and he wanted the killing to end. He wanted those who were there and present to hear him to choose a path of love, to choose a path of kindness and goodness and serenity, and to choose that which is real.
Was it true that he did get crucified?
Yes, this occurred. But this being does not want to be remembered of the crucifixion. This being wants to be remembered for the love that one is.
Okay, that's beautiful. Okay, so this next question, if I think of the question I had about Jesus, I'll.
And one thing that we will mention is that as a symbol instead of the cross, this can be a symbol of a lion and a lamb intertwined as one being.
That's beautiful. That's peace on earth right there.
Yes, as one being, one that does not kill and one that does not take without receiving in balance. So one that is life, sustains life, gives and provides, receives life, but will never kill.
Okay, I love that. Lion and lamb. Okay, so the next question is, there was another video I saw about, I think that was the Schumann resonant frequency, or Schumann something, and then solar flares, and they said something's happening on October 30th where there may be a great awakening for humans, which is only a few days from now. Can you help us understand, was this truth or was this just baloney?
It is a bit more complicated than this. There is moments expressed of truth, and there is moments expressed that are not divinely true. The transition on Earth into one that is of love has already occurred. It's just allowing oneself to shift into the reality of experience. To truly experience this reality is the difference. Well, we want people to recognize and know that on the 30th, there will be a shift, but this shift will only be experienced by those who allow themselves to shift with it.
And how can we allow ourselves? By relaxing?
In essence, yes, it's surrendering to the love, and surrendering is not giving up a part of yourself. It's allowing yourself to merge as one. So it's allowing yourself to lean in and to remove any resistance into being one. And being one still includes individuality. For instance, the body is one, yet the body has many cells, and the cells have individual experiences and perceptions. So it's important to recognize and to know that being one is not being separate, it's being interconnected on life as a whole. There's many animals in one ecosystem, yet they are one in their path, in their life, in their flow.
I understand. Would you recommend that we immerse in nature on that day, or meditate? What would you recommend so that we can
remove all fear?
Remove fear, like just let it go, any kind of worries and
release
fears.
All control. It can be any way you would like. Release control and release fear.
Maybe through dancing and singing, because how can you be afraid when you're dancing and singing?
Yes, you can do it through this if you would like. You can do it through a deep meditation. You can do it through swimming. You can do it in any way that brings you to a state of harmony and joy, that brings you back to a state of love, to recall and to remember all that is love, and lean in and rest in that experience.
Okay.
And just flow.
Just flow and trust, and know that that's true. October 30th is a very special day. So we really should optimize it by allowing ourselves to be fully in love with life and our own self, right? So
yes, as you
there's
are
much...
life, and it is not selfish or ego to be in love with oneself, because love is without selfishness. Now, if you're feeling infatuation with oneself, this is different.
Right.
But being in love with oneself is pure and kind and wonderful.
I understand. Now, can you help me understand? Is it like a Stargate that's happening? Because there is a Stargate, a red 4 Stargate, October 31st. So
yes, in essence, the planetary shift is occurring, and so you can call it the red planet if you'd like, but the red planet is present and is shifting in the solar system, and if we switch alignment just a little bit, it will allow the heat to increase just enough that it'll thaw something of essence within us.
is the red planet Mars?
You can perceive it as this if you'd like.
Okay. That's interesting. Now, isn't Mars unhealed?
Yes, but if it shifts in alignment, which it is shifting in alignment, but Earth shifts in alignment with it, this increases heat just slightly that thaws which needs to be released. In essence, what we mean by this is you have a block within you. It's near your heart, but it's not in your heart. It surrounds the space of the heart. And when we say you, we're referring to you, the reader, the one who is listening, the one who's perceiving in this present moment. Humanity as a whole.
Okay.
If you allow the energy of the light to go within to thaw this area, you allow yourself to shine. And if you're shining your energy, you are limitless and you are bright. And in that moment, you're able to connect as a whole and you create the new grid on Earth. So you become the new existent star grid. You replace that which has been fractured and broken. You are the grid now. If you allow this area to thaw, which in essence is just relaxing and flowing and not being so hard and controlling. And in this moment, trusting, for you are safe. You are safe. Remind yourself how safe you are, for you are safe. You would never go through an experience that you do not have the ability to overcome and make it through. Go through the fear and then go beyond the fear to the love that is still present, beyond and within. Reach in to this light, to this energy within, and shine this love outwards until you are one with it and one with everything. You are not losing your individuality. You are connecting with the whole of you, and you will feel much better.
Okay. That's beautiful. I'm going to visualize warmth around my heart, around the edges of my heart from this red planet. It's a gift. Is
Yes.
that what I should do?
Yes, and do not be afraid. It is important not to be afraid. The structures of the earth will be shifting, and this is okay. There's nothing to fear. There is no end and no beginning. It is just a continuous cycle and flow. The more that you lean into this, the more that you'll experience the love. There's nothing to fear. Fear only wants you to believe in it and to attach yourself to the idea of things to fear.
Okay.
There is nothing to fear. People give themselves every reason to fear one thing or another. That fear does not increase love. That fear does not increase positive change. That fear does not result in something of goodness.
Is there something on the 30th that would be visceral for everyone to see, or is it just going to be available for those who are in the complete flow state of love?
It'll be available to about 40% of the population, but they'll experience it differently. Some people will see it, some people will feel it, some people do both. Some people will just feel a little different. It'll have some obvious reaction to about 40% of the population.
Okay. All right. This is exciting. All right. Now, the next question. Oh, my goodness. We only have a few minutes left. The atlas, the 3-eye atlas, the comet. Wondering about news on that because it's coming close to the sun. I think even maybe in the next couple of days, its closest point. And I think that had a gift inside. Is that to do with the red planet or is separate?
It's intertwined in its own way. It's helping to create a portal opening for a change in alignment. For instance, the energy that is surrounding it, you can call it its aura or just its pattern in the universe. It creates a wave similar to how a boat can create a wake as it is drifting. It is like this, so it can help with actually the slight shifting of the red planet and of this one as well.
So there is some there, reciprocity between the two. One is,
yes, they're interconnected, although they're uniquely different. They are interconnected. It's one is allowing the other to occur.
Okay. It's more love is really what they're doing together.
Yes, it is good. It's just helping the alignment.
Okay, then my last question is, how can humans activate their superpowers that they were intrinsically born with?
All they have to do is to remove every distraction. Truly. They just have to remove the distractions and return back to a state of harmony within them. They were born perfect. Everyone was born perfect, even those who do not perceive themselves to be so, even those who are born with some type of illness. This is not how they were truly born. They were born perfect. It's returning back to the state of perfection, returning back to the original cell. When you return back to the original cell, you're able to go through the entire timeline of the life from start to finish, but in a state that is harmonious and true. And then you're able to reword it so that you were never deactivated in the first place. The food that the mother eats during pregnancy can already shift this. When we say birth, we're not referring to how a baby comes out of the womb. We're referring to the original cell.
You mean when they first, the first moment of conception from that
Procreation,
point?
yes.
9 months. So the 9 months of gestation, you're saying the first day of that is critical.
Yes. But that day you can go back to that point in time and shift the energy so that you are always in alignment with the perfection of your being.
Oh, wow.
And then through this, you have access to your abilities because you never suppressed them.
And this is through intention.
Yes, this is a journey and experience in a way similar to past life regression or age life regression.
That would
You
be
go to the starting point and you surround yourself with love and with wholeness. And instead of absorbing everything that you experienced from your mother and then through the experience of your birth and beyond, you're able to filter it, process it, but not hold it as truth. And in this way, you maintain yourself. And this reflects in the present moment, recognizing you have access to all time. You are not separate in time. You are not limited. Time is not linear. It is more like an interdimensional spiral or circle. It is more like a dance. It is not linear. It does not have a start or an end either. It's hard to conceive this when you're looking at linear time, but this is how it is. And so it's important to recognize you have access to any point in time.
okay.
It is not linear. So if you access the moment of, in essence, conception, the birth of a cell, then you can heal from this point forward. And it's not exactly healing, it's just removing anything that is not true and staying in that state of being and going through the timeline of your life into the present moment.
We should offer a workshop on
yes.
that. Call it something, I don't know, rebirthing, or that's
in essence, it would be, it could be conceived as the perfection of one, or love is the perfection. It can be another term as well, but yes, in essence, the deeper someone allows themselves to go back and to flow from the beginning instead of allowing themselves to be altered, then they'll be in a state of harmony now.
That is beautiful. We could do a step-by-step guiding. The whole process might be difficult alone, and especially if you're a newbie, maybe some community support around how to go back to conception when the sperm met the egg. And in Ayurveda, they call it, that's when Prakruti was determined, the actual constitution of the person. And that's a critical moment, maybe getting back to that, not necessarily past life regression, but like it. And then we I don't know, you'd have to guide me through the steps too. And then maybe that's how we regain our superpowers and remember who we truly are. That could be like a whole day or two. We can talk about that.
Yes, this will take some time because there's a process to do beforehand. There's some clearing that needs to be done for the body and for the mind before the process begins.
Okay.
We wish you all goodness.
Thank you.
Experience this goodness now, for it is present. Goodness is true, and goodness cannot be misinterpreted.
Thank you.